Alright, I think we're streaming now. Sorry, went all black there for a moment.
Went all black. Inferno just like had a fugue state.
Pretty much. That's my life. Fugue states.
Welcome back,
Fantastic.
Anna.
Guys?
No.
Yeah.
No. Squeak talk.
Hi.
Okay, thank God it was roll 20. That scared the shit out of me. I was
You
like,
know,
how
it-
can I still hear him? He's laughing. He's mocking me.
If it makes you feel better, I had the exact same problem once. I'm like, why can I still hear them? The Skype call's not even going.
Well, you can tell how coherent I am right now because I was typing into Google why is squee echoey, so
Yeah.
that's how we're all together in here.
It'd be
Don't
funny
worry,
if Google's
Anna.
like, I know why.
Your drawing is way better than Squeeze.
Your gong?
Drawing, you deaf dick. I just looked at the picture of her. Can we get rid of that, by the way? We are on mute. We are streaming now.
Dick.
That was a weird spaceship.
Dun, 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 dun.
And
And then it
And
crashed
it's
in the
gone.
White Bridge campaign over.
again, Dwight Bridge cannot catch a break.
Poor Right Bridge.
Right
She
Bridge?
catches
Is that
dick.
right next to White Bridge?
Ritbridge?
Rit
Which-
Bridge?
Which
What bridge?
What?
Okay, anywho. Yeah, I'm pretty much good to go ish.
Alright. I am ready whenever you guys are.
Oh, we're
I'm
streaming?
ready.
So
Yeah,
why
Grant,
don't
we're
we
streaming.
Okay. Sure.
Yeah, recap us.
Well, recap, not quite so much. When last we left, if you guys remember, Jerick had, you guys had successfully saved Coalhaven from itself, its Mad King and Dick Prince, and in the process, Jerick had all but adopted a kid.
No, I
He's
don't
the
remember
Regent.
that part.
Oh god, he has a crown now too. Jesus, it's going to his head.
The paperwork's coming. It's coming.
Yes, it's a good thing that I'm Lord Regent because I can take care of that paperwork.
Jesus
But,
Christ.
basically, Jerick had stayed behind in Coalhaven as a ward or protector to the new queen, who is 3 years old. After which time, the rest of the party traveled back to the Elanasi Forest, and about 6 months passed, because what you found when you got back, and Jericho, of course, would be in the know as kind of having his finger on the pulse of his entire country, is that the war kind of hit a bit of a stalemate. Up until this point, you guys had created a lot of alliances and drawn a lot of people together, and if you recall, the state of the war when you left it was basically that you had pushed Azil onto the defense. You had
Yes.
broken his siege of the Elanasi Forest and pushed him back into the Freelands territory. Over the next month, he formed a defensive structure with his armies around the Freelands. It was also discussed that, as far as you know, he has no way of gaining reinforcements, so he's definitely on the defensive, and the past 6 months have certainly shown that. While the Alliance has pushed him here and pushed him there, they're basically at a stalemate where Azil is not strong enough to attack and move forward and gain territory, and the Alliance is not strong enough to win without extreme losses. Because, you know, every ounce or meter they push Azil back, the stronger their defenses get. And so both sides have been kind of hesitant to commit. The Alliance is hesitant to commit to an all-out invasion because they know the cost, and they're trying to find a better way. On the other hand, Azil not only has built up a strong defensive bulwark, but they have somehow established a barrier around White Bridge itself, a large magic barrier that, to this point in time, you know it exists, but Lady Celine and her advisors have yet to figure out how to penetrate it. All that you know is that the demons seemed somehow able to enter it and leave at will, but without knowing how to break the barrier, on a siege on the town, even if you break through the lines, is kind of pointless at the moment. So for the past 6 months, the war has kind of been in a stalemate. There have been skirmishes, there have been a few battles here and there, but with each side hesitant to move for fear of making a mistake, the world has kind of fallen into a very uneasy DMZ, like North Korea, South Korea kind of thing. So with this in mind, I am going to give you guys an opportunity, if you want, to kind of describe what your character would be doing during the next 6 months.
Before we get into that, I have one quick question. If this is like a North Korea, South Korea thing, are we in best Korea or worst Korea?
Well, considering that you have freedom and television and tennis shoes, I'd say best Korea.
Sweet.
We have tennis shoes?
We have TV?
Like the TV didn't surprise me. The tennis shoes, like, not me.
Did you like plug an appliance into Kean or
have
something? What the
sweatshops?
fuck?
Anyway, sorry. I guess my goofy question has delayed us long enough for us to think what our characters would do in the 6-month period. Yeah, I'm not gonna GM now. I'm gonna shut up.
So who wants to go first?
Yeah.
Alright. I suppose I'll tackle this first.
All right.
Having done zero prep work, I'm the best.
Yep.
So, Jerick Veermal has spent the past 6 months as Lord Regent, His Grace Jerick Veermal, Overseer of the Kingdom of Cullhaven. He's ill-suited for rulership. His personality is forceful, yet abrasive, and his mere presence does not instill loyalty. As it turns out, in his character backgrounds, he doesn't have a suitable one for rulership, so the forlorn necromancer relies on 3 things: intelligence, reputation, and coercion. Thankfully, there are some individuals in the Kingdom of Cullhaven that he can trust. The Grand Diplomat of Cullhaven ends up being Thaddeus Carrick, a second cousin of the former king, who was once the Cullhaven diplomat assigned to Whitebridge. And he's in charge of administering foreign policy. The spy master has ended up becoming Lucian, who used to be the Lich King's second-in-command, who Jerick keeps around because reasons, like Jerick becoming the new Lich King. That probably won't happen. The Mad Stranger has been convinced to be like the Magister of the kingdom, to like oversee like all sorts of like magical experiments and esoterica that needs to occur within the kingdom. Jerick's like old mentor, Richard Harkin, is basically like the steward of the Regent, who's instead of steward, really like Richard Harkin gets the worst of everything, because Jerick's like, look, I don't relate to 3-year-old kids. I have like the skeleton arm. I raise people from the dead. I talk to spirits. You know, you handle this. And so Richard Harkin, who was Jerick's mentor and raised Jerick when he was a teenager, has been shunted onto that role of responsibility, giving Jerick, Lord Regent, His Grace, Overseer of the Kingdom of Cullhaven, the opportunity to administer rule. And he is incredibly intelligent for such. He has devoted much of his time to weeding out corruption, particularly with the efforts of his vampire spy master, to ensure that the Kingdom of Cullhaven can be wrestled and put back into shape after all of the weaknesses that had riddled it, particularly with the former Mad King. In his spare time, Jerick has attempted to relate to his 3-year-old charge, who is eventually going to be ruler, assuming that she can survive that long, which is no guarantee. There's never been a story about a counselor, you know, anyone fucking like... No, it's never happened. I don't even know why I'm trying to describe it. Unfortunately, Jerick doesn't relate to kids that well. His childhood was pretty bad, and his life has been pretty rough, up to the point where he's gonna be the next Lich King. And so when he's trying to relate to the kid, who in turn uses like her own sort of like 3-year-old tactics against him, which confound him, because he doesn't understand, they've reached like a sort of impasse. And Jerick's days and nights are full of great work. Thankfully, he does not rest. which has baffled his 3-year-old charge, the Regent, to no end, because she wants to not sleep too. And so she'll like curl up and lay in his lap when he's like sitting at the desk, and he's not that strong enough to like. So
funny.
he just sits there and just glares down at her like, I could kill you and raise you as a skeleton right now, and I could put like a hat of disguise on you or something, and no one would even know that you're dead, and I could rule this kingdom. I'll think about it. Maybe tomorrow.
So procrastination is the only thing that saves her.
Yes, procrastination's like it takes effort, and someone might eventually want to check up on her, and he's not sure it'd be that good. Then he'd have to kill them too, and just create a whole sort of chain. Like the one lie snowballs into a bigger lie. He does still have the wish stone though, and he does still have the power that the Mad Stranger sort of like put in him in case Jerick ever needs to use it. So Jerick's got those backup cards if he ever needs to deal with the kid once and for all. Thankfully, that has not transpired yet, but it could.
It's almost like the Dread Pirate Wars. Good night. Most likely kill you in the morning.
Cool.
All right. Okay. I have one question for you, Tim. How many people, if anyone, beyond Jerick, know of Lucian's true nature?
Probably Richard Harkin,
Okay.
the Jerick's former mentor. That's it. Jerick wouldn't have told anyone else. Like Jerick's like, you're more than welcome to tell people, but seeing as how I want you to be like the spy master of the kingdom for the time being, I mean, it's your call, dude. You do whatever you want.
Awesome. All right. Who would like to go next?
I also have a question for Grimmeth. You can raise the army of undead, but not a 3-year-old?
I mean, like, he could because she's not that heavy, but it goes back to effort and applying himself. Like, his mind is so consumed by other things right now. Like, what am I going to eat tomorrow? Wait, nothing! That, dealing with the kid, it's just so far beneath him. Like, here's his head, and here are the clouds, and then here's this girl, and he just can't see her. Like, he can't perceive her, and like John Cena, so he doesn't know what to do with her.
That Jerick guy, he has so much potential, but only if he could apply himself.
There's just so much natural ability just being wasted. Like, I could kill all of you right now. Just new. Go into the city nursery. New.
Oh boy.
Make like an entire musical out of it, but no.
Jesus Christ.
I can go next if people don't mind.
Do it.
Your Majesty.
Okay. Pardon me.
Your Canadianness.
Yeah, that's me. Luckily, you know who isn't Canadian? Pearson, the Bone Splitter Cullimore. He is purely White Bridgian. But I'll split up his background into two things: his personal life and his, I guess you could say, in regards to the demons, or what he's doing to help against this force that has invaded Ardenfell. As far as his personal life goes, for the past quite some long time, ever since the portals opened up, he's been away fighting, and he's just had momentary respite and visits with his family. So for this 6-month period, he spends as much time as he can with them. And in fact, 6 months roll on so often that him and Carla actually, despite the chaos and everything that needs to be done, they start to go back into a routine that they used to have back in Whitebridge, right? And when it comes to raising the kids and domestic duties and the whole shebang. Of course, as a refresher to everyone, his wife's name is Carla. He has his eldest daughter, Samantha, and his youngest daughter, Danielle. And in regards to that little tight-knit family, another thing happens over the past 6 months, which is significant, very significant for Pearson. And it doesn't happen overnight, that's for damn sure. So the more he's in the capital city, the Sunset Tower, the more he's at Sunset Tower, the more he probably sees of Sky and sees what she's doing. And of course, that last conversation he had with Jerick before they left Sunset Tower the last time, about him forgiving Kean, this will happen. Pearson would actually have to forgive Sky if he could even consider forgiving Kean for what he did. And that was always in the back of his head, and he sees how Sky presents herself and what she does throughout the city. And as the weeks grind on, his stubbornness and his hard-heartedness softens enough that he accepts the possibility of forgiveness. And the second that happens, pretty much the floodgates open. And by the end of the 6-month time period, he manages to, he actually personally tells Sky that he absolves her. He finally has realized she wasn't acting on her own accord, right? And the trials that everyone has seen so far, he has seen personally. He can see how powerful this magic is. So he does forgive her, and he does let her closer to his family, considerably so. But he also confesses that he won't feel completely at ease until, of course, Azael is gone completely. So that's the personal life. As far as in regards to the demons, I would think that Pearson probably would reach out regardless. No, oh my God, that's not a word. Regardless of the cool initial reception of the Prince of Thieves, Tannen Mealy, Pearson would probably be in contact with him and his people considerably. I mean, fighting demons is for soldiers, and what Pearson is really good at is trying to find weaknesses. So he would probably be in league with Mr. Mealy in regards to, and his people, in regards to trying to suss out physical and mental weaknesses of the enemy. Any sort of dastardly advantage that they could get. And that's about it, from what I can think of.
You forgiving Sky, or Pearson forgiving Sky, is like the worst thing ever. Never tell Jerick that you forgive.
I won't.
Then you'll
Actually,
have to consider forgiving Kean.
I know, but no, Pearson has always been a pretty private guy, right? So between I as a player tell you fellow players and everyone else, but as a character, Pearson would not be going through the streets going, "Oh, look what I did! I'm so kind! I'm so great!" No, he keeps that shit private, right? He's not telling anybody. So that's that. The only thing the players might notice is if there's any future interactions with our group in Sky, that Pearson won't be boring holes in the back of her head by staring at her like he fucking hates her anymore.
Maybe he's just bored now.
Maybe, maybe.
My eyes hurt every time I look at her. Just fucking whatever.
Great, but yeah, that's it for me.
Awesome. Can you do me a favor real quick?
Sure.
Roll me, oh gosh, it's been so long. A background with the Prince of Thieves. I'd like to see how successful he's been during.
All right, so I have a +2 to that relationship. Dear God, help me. So I remember it's 1d20. Do I add my level to these reputation things?
Your level, yes,
Okay,
and also
so
add your
6.
born on the streets.
Oh, okay. Forged on the street, sure.
Yeah, forged on the streets.
Okay, so that's
Because
5.
you know how to get on his level.
I do. Oh God, do I ever? Okay, and my level and the relationship thing. No stat though, right? No statistic. Okay, so that's still pretty hardy. Yeah, that's not bad. That's not
No,
bad,
it's not bad at all.
Yeah.
I would say that at first he is not flippant, but kind of like the, oh, now you want to talk to me.
Yeah, he's coy.
Remembering what happened whenever we considered killing his ass. Like,
Yeah. I did
Over the
suggest
course-
slitting his throat. That's right. He doesn't know that, but I did definitely suggest that.
Over the course of the months, you guys build a bit of a relationship. You wouldn't, I don't think he'd exactly call you a friend, but he
No,
would call you
professional.
exactly. And he starts to come to you as his contact. You find out that he is generally running the spies. Most of the information, like for example, the information I told you about the barrier being put up around Whitebridge, most of the things that happen in the Freelands is gotten by a network of spies that he runs, and you have become basically his contact in the Sunset Tower. So when there is new information, you're the first to find out.
Awesome.
All right. Next.
I can go next.
Sure.
All right. On day one, where there's a lot of discussion, preparation of these 6 months about how the news is halted, and lots of planning went around throughout the Sunset Tower. By day two, Cole is just, he wants to go out. He is bored. He's just needs to do something. He needs to be active, so he leaves into the forest. During this time, again, he needs to be very active. He actually, if there's any stragglers, any scouts, anything like that, either contact or hunt them down personally, any and all demons that he would come across. But the main thing that he's going to be doing is actually going to have continuous contact with a fellow named the Squirrel King. He's going to be basically trying to convince him to gather up the forest yet again, like he did before. But since it's 6 months, I think he's going to be rather bothersome about such things, and hopefully we'll get through to him within time. Other than that, he's going to probably try to coerce smaller groups to try to work together, and he has no real other goal other than to unite the forest. Not specifically against anything, but just to actually have its own society, because it is in shambles from what the demons had previously.
Okay, sorry. Go ahead.
Other than that, he feels right at home, back in the forest. A lot less things hunting him and more him hunting others. That's generally about it.
Okay, I have a question for you, and then I'm going to have you roll to see how effective your relations with the Squirrel King is. The first question is that over the course of the 6 months, the orcs that would be stationed in the Sunset Tower would ask at least a few times if the forest orc would take them with them and show them the ways of the forest. Basically, they're curious. You are considered one of the orcs now, but orcs don't do forests, but you do, and it's a curiosity to them. So how would Cole react to this?
He would he would appreciate it, that they would want to try to do this, and any individuals that seem extremely eager to do this, the ones that can keep up with him, I think he would probably be more attached to. Any of the other ones would probably be maybe more fit to not be a part of this. Basically, it's one of those things where, like, there needs to be the trust of the forest, because there's a lot of rules that he had to personally learn, and if they're like lazy and not wanting to do things and just kind of is curious but not really wanting to put the work in, he doesn't want anything to do with them.
Okay. You'll find that while there are always a few of the second type that you spoke of, on the whole, orcs tend to be you would know they have a reputation for not being the brightest, and for being war-hungry monsters. And while they are war-hungry monsters to an extent, they're very, very quick learners, especially when it comes to ways of survival in different terrains. So many of them actually take to your teachings with relish. They're a little clumsy at first. They never really get the grace that Cole has cultivated over a lifetime, but they plow into it with a type of enthusiasm that's rarely seen among other races. And if you could, roll me kind of the same thing, or what Pearson did. Roll me your background. There's the Daredevil. I think that probably worked best for you. Basically, whatever background you think you would attach closest to living in the forest.
Living in the forest. Okay.
Living, surviving, that kind of thing. So tracking, whichever you feel would work best in that situation.
What sort of stat is equated with this?
Diplomacy. I'm going to say, because you don't really have a relationship with the Squirrel King because he's not an icon. Let's go with intelligence.
Okay.
So your level, the background you chose, and your intelligence. All right. Cole attempts on several occasions to discuss with the Squirrel King to try and get them on the side, and what you find is the Squirrel King is very much his own person, and he's basically concerned with his territory and his land, and really doesn't care what the two-legged hairless people do outside his land. So while you are able to get his help once in a while when there's a skirmish in the forest, or when there's you will often come across forces of demons dead in the forest that you can tell it was probably him and his people that did it. They seem incredibly unwilling to leave or even care about anything that happens beyond their realm.
All right.
All right. Burn, Creoners?
Do you want to go next, Brianna?
Sure.
Okay.
I can do that. All right. So Finn, over the next couple months here, she'd be kind of more secluded from everyone else, pretty much keeping to herself, even away from her uncle and the queen, and even Cole a little bit, kind of observing everything from afar. In fact, the most time she spends is with baby Junior, and they kind of go off and do their own thing, and she's seen a lot, just kind of practicing by herself, but nothing really major of note, just keeping up, honing her skills. The end.
Okay.
Huzzah!
I have 2 questions for you.
Yo.
First one is, I know you said you would keep your distance from the queen. She would also be incredibly busy during this time, but there would be occasions where she would basically try and set up, like, for lack of a better word, a girls' night or something where, trying to get away from it all and forget it for a night, and your character was always the one she would go to. How would Finn respond to that?
Finn would, like, if people approached her and be like, hey, why aren't you chilling with us? Or, hey, you want to hang with us? Finn would put on her shit-eating grin and play her role as Finian the ass. So, yeah, she would go along with it. It might seem kind of forced at times.
Okay. And the second question would be, at some point, probably about 2 or 3 months in, Mika would have come to you, and she's around you a lot, mainly because she stays with your uncle, and you're one of the few that have not shown hostility towards her.
I don't know why she thinks that.
Yep.
She would come to you at some point and ask for your help in regaining the trust of the others, because obviously it's been several months and everyone walks on eggshells around her, and she understands why, but she doesn't even know how to go about trying to fix it, and she thinks that maybe if you spoke for her, they might listen to you. How would Finn respond to that?
Shit. I think that's the first thing Finn would say.
Yeah, I can see that.
She's like imagining in her head like Pearson. That's one thing, and then like if she ever sees Jerick again, oh god, that fairy's dead.
Yep.
Like, maybe we'll start with Cole.
Okay, well, we can do it this way. Would Finn do a concerted effort, a half-hearted effort, kind of just decline? I mean, would she care about this enough to put her heart into it?
Yeah,
Or...
Finn would care, but she'd also be smart enough to know the people she probably shouldn't talk to.
Right.
And just let things... I mean, yeah, I think she'd be like, we could probably get, Cole, Kean...
I wonder if Pearson did forgive Sky.
Finn would not suggest Pearson.
Okay, then good. Thank you for deciding that for me. Good.
I was gonna leave it up to you guys that of how you felt about Mika.
Oh, I don't know.
And
Pearson
of course
still
play
fucking hates her.
if Finn does or not. So yeah, that's perfect.
Yeah, I think Finn would be like, listen, like, I know, like, what you're trying to do and what you're trying to, make peace with it all, but, like, maybe it's just best to leave some things to just be as they are, because that's better than what it could possibly be. She thinks as she sees Mika, like, dead. In her mind's eye.
I mean, if there's any hope Mika would have with Jerick, it's the fact that Kean is now elevated to be worse than what Mika is in his eyes. So,
Yeah.
like, well, Mika, I mean, I don't like you, but you could be worse. You could have
not
resurrected the creature I hate more than anything else. So,
And if I recall correctly, Kean never hated Mika.
Yeah, I think Kean was pretty neutral. I think even Cole was neutral, but I don't remember.
yeah.
I think a large part of it too would be that Mika, given everything that's happened and the fact that her brother screwed everyone over, she is probably too afraid to approach anyone other than Finn.
Yeah, and I think Finn would be like, we'll see how things play out after this shit's over, but for right now, let's not,
And she would actually defer very heavily to your judgment in that regard.
Good.
I mean, if nothing else, you're like her only friend. She's not going to screw that up.
Yeah.
Can I ask a
over
quick...
again.
Oh, sorry. Sorry.
No, I was just making a high school joke. Go for it.
Okay, can I ask just a quick question? I feel awful about this, but I have forgotten why Jerick hates Kean.
Because I resurrected the Lich King.
Oh, fuck yeah!
Brought back the entity whom Jerick despises more than anything else.
Yes,
who is
I just...
responsible for Jerick's personal nightmares and torments through the skeletal arm.
Okay, yes, thank you, sir. I
Which,
just
to
needed
be
that
fair,
kickstart in my head.
was a group decision. I'm just putting that out there out of character.
Yes. As a reminder, I as a player said, go for it, and me as a character
Exactly,
said,
but he has to play in character, yeah.
I want to fucking murder you.
And I, as a GM, was like, "Oh, this is fantastic."
But get the popcorn.
Okay.
I
Then
guess that leaves
Vern.
just me?
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Well, and Pablo.
So,
Sorry, go.
let's see. Let's start at the beginning. When we get back to the Sunset Tower and all of that, when we actually arrive, Kean will be a little bit late for the first, meeting to, talk about what we did and everything, because he's going to make sure to get his girl, Olivia, a bouquet of flowers and some candies. If she is around, he will give it to her. If not, then he will wait until she comes back and yada, yada, yada. And later on that night, he will make sure to tell her everything that happened in Coalhaven, including the fact that he and Kip switched bodies and he had to teach Kip how to, use his body and blah-de-blah-de-blah-de.
I have been waiting for months to hear Olivia's reaction to this. What
is
happened
her
in
reaction?
Coalhaven?
Yes.
Okay. Well, her reaction to it is, at first, extreme alarm. Like, you did what? Kind of thing. And then she would, after a night to calm down and think it over, I think she'd be more amused by it than anything. No, once she once she was able to assure that there was no serious damage to Kip, there was no serious damage to you. You both kind of seem no worse for wear, give or take a body or two. She starts to kind of view it mirthfully and will even needle you and Kip about it from time to time. Like,
Alright.
if you piss her off, she'll be like, maybe you should have just stayed in Kip's body so I could discipline you like I do him. And then she'll tell Kip that if he's not good, she's going to make him take Kean's body again. That kind of thing. She kind of uses it mirthfully.
Okay.
And she would be there as much as she can. Basically, obviously, she's got duties elsewhere, being one of the most powerful, tools that your alliance has. She'd be able to be there maybe 1 week out of the month-ish, so she's there, but she's not there all the time. And Kip actually spends more time with her than he does with you off learning how to fight and things like that. But I would say if Kean would want to, if Kip is there, he will continue his lessons.
Good. Also, one thing that I kind of overlooked was Kean will also mention that he kind of was an idiot and told Kip that he could possibly, in the future, shapeshift into human form. What is her reaction to that?
I can imagine Kean approaching this like he screwed up, and she'll be like, well, yeah, I mean, we all learned to do it. I mean...
Well, I didn't know
that. she'll again be amused by it.
All right. So for the rest of the actual time, he will spend trying to master shapeshifting, into and out of the dragon form. Not full dragon form, mind you, but as close as he can get it. And also he's going to try and learn spells. He is going to try and be more of a spellcaster. And he will enlist Lady Celine's help with that.
You will find her incredibly busy, but willing to help whenever she can.
Okay. And for the most part, I think that covers everything.
Okay.
He will just keep training, making sure he knows how to use a bow, and all of that stuff, and so on and so forth.
Okay. Fantastic. Okay. Well, then before we get started, I guess I would probably do it this way. Are there any NPCs or any other information you guys are curious about what's taken place in the past 6 months?
Yes. Actually, I was going over my notes, and there's one thing that I would just kick myself if I didn't follow up on, because I don't know if this will reach our path again. Back when we fought in Shalta's arena in the Underdark there, and Pearson vanquished that monk, he gave Pearson a scrap of fabric with that symbol, and he said it was the Order of the Phoenix. I was wondering, and he told Pearson to go visit them or to contact them somehow. I'm wondering if it's at all possible, using Mr. Neely's spy network or whatever, to track down this Order of the Phoenix over the 6 months, come in contact with them, see if we can enlist their help or some such. Or get some information about them at the very least.
Yeah, sure. So here's what happened. Because you rolled rather well and you had contact to Neely's network, you were able to find the monks that were spoken of. When you told, I should ask, would Pearson be completely honest about what happened, or?
He will admit the pissing on the corpse part, but otherwise, yes, he'll be completely honest.
I'd forgotten about that.
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah,
Okay.
It's very memorable for many people, including myself.
They would listen to the story seriously, and you find that there's only 4 of them. And then 1 apprentice, so 5, but really 4 that would be considered actual fully
Monks.
trained. One of them agrees out of respect for his fallen brother to travel back with you and to start teaching you what he can of their ways.
Okay.
And what we'll do is the next time you level up, when you do, get with me and we'll go over the effects of that.
Sure. Actually, that's great because there are some forms, some monk-esque forms there that I never really picked because they seem too mystical or magical. But this might be a great way to rationalize picking something like that.
It would be the training itself would be very strenuous, very physically difficult, which I don't think Pearson would have much trouble with. But it would also be enormous amount of emphasis and effort put into patience and calmness.
Sweet. All right, we'll talk about it on the next level.
Maybe
up.
that's what helped Pearson
Yeah.
become calmer and start forgiving people.
Hey, there you go. I like that actually.
He's finally able to let go of the past through
my God.
meditative training.
Who knows? That's that's enticing.
Is there anything else? Any other NPCs or anything else that people would be curious about?
What about those that Gearsworth and those construct fellows?
They are basically at your beck and call. It's kind of up to the group of, generally speaking, they would be on the front lines, unless the group wanted them elsewhere. And the way to think of it is, you guys are in, but I'm not because I'm
You're terrible.
doing sneaky stuff. If you look at the map, the red line that was already drawn there is considered the front lines. This is basically the defense line, and
Right.
the golems. In fact, here I'll do it this way. The orcs are generally. Hang on, let me get a big. Generally right around here.
Okay.
The elves and what humans that are left are, along the Alana Forest like this.
Mm-hmm.
And then, of course, you've got Coalhaven that covers this flank over there. The golems, sorry, I forgot their name, would generally be on one of these front lines wherever they are felt they are needed most. They generally try and follow any battles or skirmishes because, basically speaking, unless something really big happens to be a part of it, they wipe the floor with whoever they come across.
So are the dwarves on the same angle as the orcs then?
Yes, I forgot the dwarves. Much to their dismay.
Because it would be fascinating if they were finding a way to work together.
I was actually going to say,
It would be
much
quite
to
interesting.
their dismay, they do overlap a bit. There have been reports of a bunch of fistfights, a lot of yelling, a lot of shouting between the dwarves and the orcs. The curious thing is that there's also several reports of in skirmishes and battles that take place between the two actually joining forces and working marvelously well together until the battle's over, and then they go back to squabbling.
Good
Okay.
work, guys.
Yeah, good. Glad to see your priorities are straight, at the very least, you idiots. All right, anyway.
I have a couple of questions.
Mm-hmm.
First off, is Olivia and Kip the only ones that actually frequent the Sunset Tower? Are there any other dragons that stop by every once in a while?
Not generally speaking. When there is a council of war, which has happened with increasing in frequency, more dragons will show up. But Olivia is kind of, much like Pearson is Neely's contact, she is Sunset Tower's contact.
Okay. Well, whenever there is, Kean will try and make a good impression
Okay.
and try and converse with them and try and talk to them and that kind of thing. Get them used to who he is and possibly, tell them, hey, I'm a dragon now and yada, yada, yada. But
Okay, are you serious? I mean, are you telling them, or are you...
I'm
I
just
need a
saying
commitment from this.
narratively.
Are you telling them or not?
I'm not telling them.
Got it. Okay. Let's put it this way. They're not the worst in-laws that you could possibly have, but they're certainly not the best. They kind of, at best, treat you with a mild dismissive politeness.
Ah, okay. Well, at least he's memorable. Anyways, the other NPC I want to ask about is Caleb. How is he doing? Because I'm pretty sure I didn't actually tell him after Vamglir that Kean is dragon now.
Okay. I assume you probably would have told him. If nothing else, it would have come out in one of your drunken sessions.
Yeah, definitely.
He wouldn't believe you at first until you prove it, and then he'd probably do a spit take, mumble to himself about it being the damnedest thing, and then basically surprisingly say, "So what?"
I'm a fucking dragon.
Basically, what'll happen is the overall outcome will be like, "You're still an asshole. I don't care what kind you are."
Fine.
The one thing you will notice of Caleb is that he does spend a lot of time with you. As you know, he's always at the Sunset Tower making arms and armor.
Yeah.
He spends a lot of time, as much as he can, with Kean while he's there. But also, as the months go by, you see an increasing amount of time that Sky is also joining you guys in your get-togethers. And beyond that, towards the end of the 6 months, you start seeing Caleb and Sky together more often as well.
Ah, interesting.
So that is that.
So I do have one other thing I haven't forgotten about because of how much I wanted to keep this around.
Ooh.
What's going on with that dragon cannon down there, Squee?
He asks, wearing his regent crown.
Yes, you know, I as Lord Regent of the nation of Colhaven, have a great amount of time on my hands to be interested in such things. I'd be able to, like, relocate that as a construction project to pay, like, the disillusioned folks who, like, harvest is poor, they're worried about how they're going to feed their families. Well, get, like, a bunch of, like, stone cutters and masons and engineers down there with fucking, like, move the dragon cannon up. No?
We're going to create a giant ship.
Miles, you understand? I mean, like, I'm sure, like, the dragons kind of want the dragon cannon off their island, so they don't have to worry about thinking about it. Like, Pearson is more than happy to, like, help them, and then, like, the Lady Celine said, they can come stay in Ironhall, and we'll take good care of them.
You know, a great place for that dragon cannon.
I mean,
At
there's
the
got to
very
be like
top
a
of Iron
gentle,
Hall,
like,
right
gently, like,
there.
gently sloping hill or like some sort of elevated terrain right next to Iron Hall. Just like put it up right there, like yes. And so when newcomers head to Iron Hall, they're like, oh shit, this region means serious business. What the fuck is that?
And every other Thursday, we shoot the pour out of it.
I would say that obviously the fact that the dragon cannon still exists is a very little known secret.
Yeah, we're good on that. Good us.
But, Lady Celine would have at some point given Jerick one of her books so that they could stay in contact, as Jerick is pretty much Colhaven now, and in the book, she would have made sure that Jerick would also be brought up, would be able to see the reports between her and the, I hesitate to say scientists, let's say scholars.
Yes,
Scholars.
researchers.
Yes, the researchers that she sent over there, trying to convert the cannon into, instead of a weapon for offense, to a weapon of defense, a shield, a protection, a final card to play. And I would think that after several attempts, she would, of being polite and dismissive, she would straight out tell Jerick that she's not moving the cannon because she has no faith that he wouldn't use it on the reincarnated Lich King.
Damn, she's so
Yeah, well, you kind of wear your heart on your sleeve there, so to speak, Jerick. At least when it comes to the whole...
Sure, Grandma would read that and go, damn.
Foiled!
No.
You would see from the writings from the researchers that they're a very optimistic bunch, and they keep thinking that they've made a breakthrough, and you'll have a very happy message like, we think we've done it, we're gonna test it tomorrow, and then a little bit later you'd get a message where it's like, So, didn't work. Freddy burned his eyebrows off. We're going back to the drawing board.
I got it. I'm gonna use the "but we're family" argument. Bam!
Oh my god.
Checkmate, Lady Sully.
So how are
Oh my
you
god,
related
you
to Sully
are.
again? How are you related? Is she like your cousin or something?
God knows.
Yeah, god.
God? How are they
hang
related?
on. Let me
Because I would find
let me
it
remember.
hilarious. I would find it hilarious if Theoden was his uncle.
No.
No,
They are
Theoden
related,
isn't his
though.
uncle. Theoden, no. Lady Selene is basically like his great aunt, I believe. The first Lich King was her father. She was his daughter. She married Theoden. Theoden became the second Lich King. Jerick, it was never. I don't think the details were ever said, but they had to be of that line to even be compatible. So she's like his great aunt.
Like some sort of like cousin type relation.
Yeah.
So you just gotta keep it in the family.
Same.
Just keep
Twice removed.
Keep handling the
I,
Lich
I,
King
I, ju- I
down.
just remembered that whenever it was revealed, the relation, like so many people who were like shipping Jerick and Lady Selene were like, no! And I'm like, guys, it's not ruined, it's Ardenfell. Pure concepts of incestual relationships don't apply here. Besides, they're beyond first cousins. Jesus, people.
Yeah, I mean, in medieval times, people used to marry things like that all the time.
Listen. Frankly, the Austrian aristocrats. Oh my god. Never mind. I fucked up the joke by not being able to say.
I can picture Jerick doing it just to piss Theoden off.
God damn it. Chris.
Yep.
Okay.
All right. I'm good though.
Yes. Okay.
All right.
So we will skip ahead. Like I said, it's been 6 months, and around the 6-month point, there has been a council of war called in a few days, and this is supposed to be more of a status update. Nothing's changed, of course, and all of you would be privy to these councils, given that sooner or later everyone understands you're going to have a very large role to play in ending this. So they feel that, if nothing else, you've earned your place at the table, because this alliance wouldn't be here without you. And what you see is that while no one at this council is a stranger to war, except maybe the dragons. They haven't really fought wars, quote unquote. But they're all very hesitant because they all know that if they attack first and make the wrong move, they're gonna give up the advantage. So everyone's been kind of like when to attack, where to attack, and there's been hours and hours upon debates. They know the stalemate can't last forever, but no one's been able to draw a unanimous decision on when to strike. And this next war council is supposed to be kind of more of the same. It's about 2 days before the war council is supposed to take place. Jerick arrives at that time because, for obviously the Queen of Coalhaven must be at these talks, and if she's there, generally speaking, so is Jerick.
Yay!
We ride, Heinrich. We ride.
Oh god. Is he...
Oh god, how does Heinrich react to the little girl?
Heinrich, his one unique thing is that he's carnivorous. So Jerick will say,
Not food.
She's like our
Not
ticket
the
for you
snack.
getting the choicest meats. And so Heinrich's like, yeah, whatever. And Jerick, Heinrich's trained horse. Jerick teaches the horse to handle Jerick, and then in front of Jerick, the little Queen of Coalhaven. Oh shit! Will personally oversee her to ensure that no fucking shape changer, no mind controller, or no fucking demon, or no undead will never go and lay a thing. He's going to be overprotective to ensure that she must rely on him whenever she grows up.
Understood. So, Jerick, you will arrive at the Sunset Tower about 2 days before the council is set to take place. You are, of course, given only the finest accommodations in the Sunset Tower. And, of course, the rest of the party, you would hear through the rumor mill of Jerick's arrival,
Mm-hmm.
and you have all, including Jerick, have all received a summons by Lady Celine in about 3 or 4 hours, basically saying, if you wouldn't be any trouble, can you meet me in my private quarters at this time? So you've got about 3 hours between the time when Jerick arrives and you all hear about it and the time you're supposed to gather together, if any of you would like to do something.
Jerick scratches his head at the Sunset Tower. Looks just as amazing as it always does. Yes, Elf, you may take the horse. Make sure you take care of Heinrich and watch the teeth. Right this way, my lady. Don't worry, I'll help you down. Jerick, looks down at the queen. I'm sure, scratching his head. Not used to traveling with her.
Yeah. Well, if it's only really a difference between 3 hours of the necromancer's arrival and meeting with Lady Celine, Pearson's going to put 2 and 2 together and figure that he can meet with the necromancer when he meets with Lady Celine rather than spending 2.5 hours trying to track him down, or, God forbid, try to meander throughout the nobility of Sunset Tower, which he still cannot stand for the life of him. So I have nothing to do between the 3 hours. I'm good.
Okay. Anyone else?
When getting the invitation, I'm assuming that that I would hear that Jerick would be arriving with all of this, right?
Mm-hmm.
Cole will actually look at the paper, hand it over to somebody else, ask them to read this for him.
Aw, someone doesn't have literacy. Poor Cole.
Someone would happily read it for you.
He will then hear that Jerick is going to be arriving there, and then go, well, hopefully something will get done then. And then he will actually go up to the Sunset Tower this time, ignoring most of the other messages.
Nice. Jerick's here. That means something's going to happen. That's good.
Okay. Anyone else?
I am not going to meet Jerick because I think that would be a bad idea.
Could my entire noble elite guard entourage that's followed me from Ironhall to ensure the safety of the Queen of Cullhaven.
The corpse of a dragon is found in the back alley 3 hours later.
Found in the back alley. Someone looks behind the tavern tomorrow, Kean just laying there twitching. No, don't kill him, just get him drunk, completely shit-faced. They'll find him. Let's see what happens.
All right.
Finn's in a tree.
Finn's
in a tree.
Jerick
Okay.
is actually going to try and hunt down Finn.
Are you looking in trees?
Jerick's like, if I were Finn, what would I do? Well, he likes to stay a lot in trees. Jerick looks outside Sunset Tower. There's a lot of fucking trees out there. Start asking guards, if I were Finian, which tree does she like to hang around?
Do the guards know?
And I do expect an answer. I am the Lord Regent of Cullhaven.
The guards would know unless Finn's actively trying to avoid them. But even that would be difficult because these are wood elves we're talking about.
Yeah, I mean, Finn would certainly try, but I don't think she'd be super successful on trying to, get rid of the wood elves.
Different kind of elf, unfortunately, yeah.
Yeah.
So yes, the guards would know and they would happily they'd give up the goods.
Good. Jerick's like, all right, my queen, let's go on a short trip. Jerick will, lead the Queen of Cullhaven with him, because, if there's anything that he can use to manipulate someone, it's a child. Go towards the tree, his leather boots, crunching on the leaves. Finn! You out here, Finn? So damn hard to see. Finn!
You hear a yelp of surprise, and then Finn coming crashing down from the tree.
Jerick looks at alarm. Oh,
Ah, shit! That scared me.
I'm
Jerick?
sorry. Yeah, I'm sorry. I thought you would recognize me long before I approached.
Yeah, I was paying attention, she says, rubbing the sleep out of her eyes.
Jerick gives a dubious look at the girl he's talking with.
How's
Queen.
parenthood treating you?
About as well. Come here and give me a hug. Like, Jerick
Nah,
will, like, open up his arms.
Finn will give him a hug.
Right, and Jerick will hug tight and say, I've missed you, Finn. I hope
miss
you've been
you
doing
too.
well.
Oh, yeah, I mean, it is what it is.
Jerick, like, scrutinizes. Like, have you been treated poorly?
What?
Do I need to stay around you now? Should you come back with me to Callhaven?
What?
What's wrong?
What did I just was taking a nap.
Oh, no.
Yeah, no.
Jerick will nod and smile. Okay.